Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Watch and Roll. Today we'll take a look at why the more I appreciate other watches from friends and all watches in general, the more I like my Casio Oceanus OTW100. Time ago a friend of mine handed me, this is just one example, but time ago he handed me his Omega Seamaster Quartz. The watch felt great. There's a stern overall quality feeling that you get of handling this watch, and it got my attention that my Oceanus felt in a similar way. Not just that, but the Omega Second's hands was a tiny hair off the markers, while my Oceanus hits all the second markers. This is just one example, but I'm talking about like handling so many other watches, especially Swiss luxury watches, 4000 Tudors, the Rolex Submariner, etc. Those are nice watches, but for the price you pay on these Oceanus, I'm not missing too much on those Swiss luxury, and more than that, there are things you can only get with these Oceanus in multiple ways. It delivers better specifications in a rational way. So I think this Oceanus delivers an overwhelming amount of quality and value for your money, and I think this Oceanus is easily underpriced, or the rest of the watches are very overpriced. So number one, this Oceanus is made from high intensity titanium, a material that you don't really see on Swiss luxury. It's a more difficult material to manufacture, it's stronger than steel, more scratch resistant, more corrosion resistant, it's harder to polish, it's better and more efficient material, being lighter, it's warmer, and there's no allergic reactions. On top of that, it has a titanium carbide treatment coating that makes this material to be very scratch resistant. I had this watch for a long time and it has no scratches, or the only visible scratches that this watch has in there is parts where the same material is scratched against the material itself, like for example in these sections of the clasp. Other than that, on regular use there's no scratches. You have to really abuse it and run it through rocks or something to scratch it, like there's one guy who posted a picture of this Oceanus with his Oceanus all scratched up, and he says, oh, this is not like so fancy, etc, etc. I experienced this watch, I experienced steel watches. I know how they scratch. I experienced titanium watches that are so easy to scratch, and seriously, I think this guy had to go and like rub this watch against rocks or something to get it like that, because it's not easy to scratch. Number two, it is finished with the same technique Grand Seikos are finished with, the Salis polishing. This polishing takes more precision, achieving a reflection that does not distort the light. And for under $1,000, you get this better polishing technique than a Rolex Submariner. I mean, it's just crazy. Number three, this point is one of the most worth appreciating. The movement inside, it's a quartz movement, but it's not a normal quartz movement. This quartz is better, more interesting, more difficult to develop than, let's say, the quartz movement on the Omega Seamaster Quartz, or any Swiss quartz movement, period. This proprietary Casio movement designed for this Oceanus, that by the way is completely in-house, fully developed by Casio, versus many, 4K Swiss luxury watches that have non-in-house movement that are really similar to so many other Swiss watches. This Oceanus movement has the strength and durability of a premium G-Shock. Let's put that over there first. They achieve this by meticulously selecting different materials according to their density and strengths to lay them in sequence, so to say. It's a movement where each hand has its own independent motor. All the hands positions are corrected by laser technology or an LED technology every certain amount of time, I think it's around 2 hours, that ensures hands are aligned, versus a Swiss luxury watch, hands will be misaligned after a blow or a shock. This is one reason why these Oceanus can have better hand alignment than any other conventional watch, no matter how well they're built. This movement is plus or minus 0 seconds per year, because it readjusts itself every night with the atomic signal. The battery is solar, so you don't have to worry about battery changes. It's temperature resistant, it has a perpetual calendar, so the date will never be wrong, versus how much you have to pay for a Swiss perpetual calendar. You can also change time zones when you travel. You're traveling to other time zone, just pull out the crown, select the time zone, and the watch automatically readjusts without losing precision. Like seriously, is this better than any Swiss quartz yet? It has a sapphire crystal, it has a beautiful case, slim and small, it's very exclusive. There is probably more people that own Patek Philippe's in the world than people owning Oceanuses. It's a difficult watch to get because it's only for Japanese domestic market. It's also limited in the amount of watches produced per year. It's a lot less production than Rolex. You can only get these watches in Japan or through special Japanese stores, not even that. But for example, this Oceanus is reachable to me. I live in the US and I can get this Oceanus online through a special online store, Japanese store. But there's so many other high-end models that are impossible for me to get in here. I have to be in Japan in order to acquire these high-end Oceanus models. Not just that alone, but because the Oceanus is not a very known brand like the rest and lots of people don't know about it. And one more detail about this Oceanus. You see, when you get a luxury Swiss sports watch, you get a certain type of animal. And when you get a Japanese sports watch, you get a different type of animal. They do things differently. There is different philosophies into the watchmaking of these two countries. So some people say you can't compare a luxury Japanese watch and a luxury Swiss watch. Overall, this is true. And then there is the Oceanus, where I feel it sits in between. That's exactly the philosophy of Oceanus as a brand. Technology, functionality, mixed with refinement and elegance. This watch has such a design balance that is perfect. Look at the proportions and the shape of the hands and indices. It's simple, sophisticated, symmetrical, but at the same time, functionality and efficiency is in there too. For example, these Aquis hour markers are sophisticated and proportional. All hour markers are practically the same size. Now look at this Oceanus. Look how the markers are also elegant, but at the same time it's more legible and functional because the 12-hour marker is designed differently as a reference. Then the 3, 6 and 9 o'clock markers are also slightly different. The design and proportions are more efficient and legible than the Aquis. The Aquis indices are applied raised of the dial and the Oceanus markers are also applied. There is an overall certain feeling of sophistication that you also get with these Oceanus watches, no matter if it's a sports line. Something undescriptible, and for the price point, it's amazing. That's why Oceanus is so exciting. They're doing things nobody else have ever done before. They're so unique. I remember at work I met a Japanese executive who was wearing a high-end Oceanus and it looked like nothing I ever seen before. Seriously, the level of quality looked off the charts. I also met an Oceanus engineer who worked in the Yamagata premium factory. He was also wearing a very stunning high-end special edition Oceanus. I'm talking about those multiple $1,000 Oceanus. It looked like nothing I ever seen. I wish I had more time to talk with him as I was so excited that words couldn't come out and I regret not asking him more questions. That's it guys, let me know what you think about that. Have you ever tried an Oceanus? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you later.